Thank you so much for joining me in this study. I must say we are still on day 5. This is the second video. The more reason for this is because the challenge becomes more challenging when you are getting to an end. But don't worry, we are just remaining with a few days to go, and it is going to be a celebration for you. So today we are just continuing with how to write a literature review. Just after the previous video where we're dealing with the significance of study. Want to know how do you write a literature review? What is a literature review first? A literature review, this is a portion, because it's a chapter on its own in the proposal that summarizes and analyzes the existing research. It shows what is known, shows what is unknown, and where your study fits, where your research fits, to say this is the part where my study is going to fit because this is already known and this is the part that is not known. So it answers the question that says, what have other researchers discovered in this topic? What have other researchers discovered in this topic? So the purpose of literature review is just to demonstrate understanding of your topic. We don't want to feel you don't understand, that's why you claim there is a problem. We want to know when you claim there is a problem, you know there is, and you have understood what other people have done about the problem and where they have failed because you have read recent studies. In short, you are justifying to your research, and you are giving the supervisor the gaps in that study. Then the other thing that comes to our mind when you present a literature review is that you are connecting to the body of knowledge. You are connecting to the previous study. You are not giving us something new, but you are building on something that has already been done. So you are not taking us to a different direction. You are within the science that we are all taking. Then how to organize the literature review. Number one, you can think of the introduction. Other institutions will tell you the overview. The overview, this is the part where you say, this is the literature review of this study. This literature review is going to be organized by the major themes of this topic or by the objectives, or it's going to be organized according to the research questions, or it's going to be organized according to the hypothesis of the study. It means we are expecting you to follow the overview that you've presented. When you come into the body of knowledge, then you begin to list down the major themes. If your study is to find out the knowledge, attitude, and practice of women, according to the study, maybe to say of women at this particular hospital, what they know about breast cancer, we're expecting you to begin the first part of the body with 2.1 and say awareness of breast cancer. Then you present the global awareness in the sentences, maybe in the paragraphs, you present maybe the regional awareness, maybe you present the local awareness without putting headings. Within those sentences, we can read and find to say, okay, locally, this is how many people are aware about this according to literature. Then you begin to present of attitude. What is their attitude towards this? So because your study is talking about knowledge, attitude, and practice, so you begin to follow those major themes. What have they done about it? So your other part will talk about the practice. Do they go for breast cancer screening test? If you are talking about farmers, you are trying to talk about the knowledge and the practice of farmers on the use of maybe the new technology that has come in, or maybe on the use of the new fertilizer that has come in, which is a liquid fertilizer, DI Grow. You can begin to say, are they using it in this particular way? What are they doing about it? Are they afraid? So those things should come out in the body. Then in the conclusion, you summarize things. You summarize the pattern that you used in your review of literature, then the gaps that you found, and what the study is aiming to do. That is it. So the tips that you should follow for effective literature review, the tips. Number one is summarize. Don't list studies. Summarize, don't say everything. It's tempting to say everything that your friend had said, but just know what you want to get from each study that you find. Just know it's relevant and know what you want to get from there. Show relationships between studies. How is it relating to your study? Then highlight the gaps and limitations of this study. So this particular study was conducted, and it was the gaps of this study were these and these. And by that we mean the gaps of the studies that you have quoted, where these all studies haven't done everything. So you only conclude the gap when you conclude that I'm done with the review of literature. And I've noticed that all these studies I've read are leaving out this particular thing. That's when you conclude it's a gap, and you maybe you find out limitations that are common in those studies. So that is a part that I want you to pay attention to. And critique, don't describe. This is criticizing. You should criticize, not just describe. Then use recent and credible sources. Recent sources will mean something that was done maybe not more than 10 years ago, but me, I personally recommend 5 years. So if something was done this year in the early months, you can still use it because it is a credible source. So helpful questions that will guide you to come up with a good literature review are: what research has been done in this field? When? Where was it conducted? When and where was it conducted? What methods were used? What were the findings? What gaps existed? How does it relate to my study? If you answer these questions, if you review 4 or 5 articles or research papers and you are writing, you feel good and you understand the direction that you take just after doing the review of literature. You even have confidence in writing because you know something and you know what others have done, and it's more like you are just choosing which method you are going to use among the methods that others have done, which questions you are going to ask among the questions that others have asked. So it's not an issue of going to the witch doctor and crying and getting stressed. So research should be exciting. So an assignment for today is simple. Find and list only 5 relevant articles, and I'll show you how this should be done. I'll give a demonstration. You don't have to worry. Okay. 1 to 2 sentences summarizing your findings, summarizing the articles. So each article, write 1 to 2 sentences to say, this article was conducted by Patrick Nkemba in 2025 in the nation of Zambia. The aim of his article was to find out if we are understanding what he's teaching about research, and the gaps of this study were that this and this and this. Boom, full stop. Then 3, identify one research gap. According to the studies that I've reviewed, I've noticed that this and this and this have not been done. What's it? Then the other part is post your findings in the group and review one friend's work. That is how it ends, and let me see you in the demonstration today.